What's really good? What's really good? What's really good? It is Wednesday night with the Sanchez Show. As always, I'm your host, Eric Sanchez, aka Legend in Two Games. Shoot me a like, shoot me a comment. You see the social media handle right there. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the podcast. We normally go live on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Tonight, the connection on Instagram is a little out of whack. I was trying to get it corrected, but it wasn't cooperating. So we're not going to do Instagram tonight, just Facebook and YouTube. And then you can archive the episode on YouTube once the live is done. With that being said, shout out to my brother Trip Young and Will Gordon. Trip, I'm not sure is joining the show tonight. Will should be joining the show shortly. Once he gets on, we'll go into our reactions to some of the trades tonight. I see the comment section already, so we're going to get to those, of course. Shout out to Squeeze. Shout out to Ron. NBA trade deadline is tomorrow. But today, we got some more big time trades. And this has been one of the crazier NBA trade deadline scenarios that I can remember. It really started with the Trae Young trade about a month ago. It really hasn't calmed down between rumors, between actual trades that have taken place. And obviously, the big fish, Giannis Antetokounmpo, is still on the board for a potential trade. So we'll see. NBA action going down tonight. I got the Knicks and the Nuggets in the background. It's a good game to start. About 4 minutes left in the first, tied at 18. And the Knicks actually just took the lead on Landry Shamet's corner three. We obviously got football talk to get into. The Super Bowl is, well, today's Wednesday, so we're about 4 days away from the Super Bowl. Very intriguing matchup. Talked about it a little bit on Monday, but we'll get more in depth tonight as we normally do. What else we got going on? Shout out to Trip Young. We did a great episode on Monday. It's in the archives. You can check that out. Next Monday, we're back with a special guest. Head over to the IG page. We got the flyer up. It's supposed to be going down on the 16th right now. We got that set up. So, yeah, there's that. But in the meantime, like I said, let's get to some of these questions. Let's get to some of these comments. And then, as I always do, once Will joins, we'll kind of go more in depth on our NFL picks, on our NBA thoughts on the deadline. It's been crazy so far. Squeeze says, thoughts so far on the trades. Giannis, till this point, is still a buck. Yeah. Right now, some of the things I've been reading and hearing is that a Giannis trade is close. It's not complete. As of Monday, you guys know, there was rumors that Golden State had a package in place for Giannis with Draymond going to Milwaukee. If you heard Draymond's post-game interview yesterday, he kind of sounded like a guy that knew his time in Golden State might be done. There was rumors today that Minnesota had made a strong push for Giannis, and Vegas kind of even backed that idea because I don't know if you guys track this. Obviously, I do. I talk a lot on the show about gambling, about odds. Minnesota, as of 11 o'clock this morning, mysteriously shot up on Vegas's boards. They went from the 8th best odds to win an NBA championship this year to the 3rd best odds. And so that triggered a lot of people's curiosity, wondering if maybe a trade was going to be announced very soon. And Vegas was aware that a trade was going to be announced. And that's why their odds had shot up so significantly. Because if you remember, the only thing Minnesota's done so far is move on from Mike Conley. At the time when they made the trade with Mike Conley, who now is in Chicago as of today, in Charlotte as of today, sorry. Again, it's been crazy to keep up with the moves. But the move to get rid of Mike Conley, not really take on any salary, opened up some possibilities for them as a team who is an April team who's got to free up some cap space to be able to make a move as significant as Giannis. And so when Vegas kind of put that out there, it made people think, all right, maybe this trade is coming down, and we're going to see. As of a couple of days ago, there were really 4 teams, they said. It was Knicks, it was Miami, it was Minnesota, it was Golden State. We're hearing a lot of Golden State. We're hearing a lot of Minnesota. We're not hearing as much about the Knicks or Miami. And I think the reason for that is I think there are teams, the Knicks specifically, who are going to wait till this offseason to explore a trade for Giannis, if that's the direction they would go. I've been on record saying several times that the Knicks don't want to blow up their roster to make the move. I don't think they should blow up their roster to make the move. Now, if they can make the move without having to give up too many significant pieces, then yeah, I think you have a really long conversation about it. But you don't, I don't think, you don't give up Towns, Bridges, possibly Hart, and all these other things that have been kind of rumored for a while to make that trade happen. I think you kind of just wait it out. And there are a number of factors for that. One, Giannis's injury. I think that's the one thing that's not being talked about enough. He sat out time this year, 2 times already this year with that calf strain. That's something that's got to scare you. That's something that you should be worried about. That's something that understanding that if you're trading for Giannis, and this is anybody, but I'm speaking from the Knicks perspective because again, the Knicks, since they don't have the draft capital required, since they don't have the young pieces they would be sending, it's going to require a combination of established players along with draft picks. But I think it's one of those things where if I'm trading for Giannis and I'm expecting to put the stress and the wear and tear on his body to go win a championship, I am going to be worried about the calf strain. I am going to be worried about if he has enough to play at his full potential through a long 4 rounds of playoffs. It's something that we've seen other players struggle with in the playoffs, obviously coming off back-to-back superstars last year who had Achilles injuries, and Tatum and what's my guy's name in Indiana? Oh man, I can't believe I'm forgetting the point guard from Indiana from the Pacers. But yeah, Halliburton. Sorry. When you look at the injuries those guys had last year, when you look at obviously Kevin Durant having a similar situation with a calf strain that led to an Achilles, you can't make that trade unless you're 100% sure that he's healthy enough for 4 rounds of playoffs. And that might be the thing that's really scaring the Knicks, combined with the fact that you got to give up a lot to get him. For Minnesota, it's a different scenario. Minnesota has been to back-to-back Western Conference Finals. I think they know that they have peaked in terms of this current core, this current group of guys. There isn't much more runway for them. So you probably got to shake it up, and you probably got to make the move for Giannis or any other significant player. But if you can get Giannis with Anthony Edwards, yeah, maybe that increases your ceiling and gives you an opportunity. So as of now, as you mentioned there, Squeeze, he's still a buck. I think he's going to stay a buck. I think this trade gets done in the offseason, whether it's the Knicks, whether it's Minnesota, whether it's Golden State, any of these teams. Minnesota and Golden State, like I said, they're in unique situations. They're in unique positions because Golden State understands that their window with Steph is closing. The dynasty part is already closed, but their window with Steph is closing. And so if they can bring in Giannis now and try to extend the shelf life of Steph Curry and the Warriors by another 2 to 3 years, why not do it, right? Is it enough to win in the West? I don't think so. I think even with Giannis and Steph, though a great duo, when you look at what they're going to have to give up in terms of pieces, I don't think it's enough for them to get over the hump of an OKC, of a Denver, of a Houston, of a San Antonio, of a Minnesota. They would probably need a little bit more. Now, injuries play a big factor. We saw Joker out earlier this season. SGA is out right now. We know Houston is probably an incomplete team. Wemby has been out this year. So maybe if you're Golden State, you feel like going to get Giannis with Steph, and maybe a break or two goes your way, and you might find yourself in the finals. But it is very risky. Steph has been injured this year. Giannis has been injured this year. And you're putting everything, all chips center of the table on those 2 guys. You need those guys to be as healthy as possible because you don't have much more of a supporting cast outside of those guys. It's going to be a lot of offensive workload between those guys, a lot of usage between those 2 guys. If Draymond is in the trade, it's going to be interesting to see how the Warriors function as a team without Draymond and his intangibles. And I've been one of the people that always talked about it. I think Draymond doesn't get enough credit for the sacrifices he makes on that team and for what he does on that team. His ability to initiate offense, his ability to play multiple defensive positions, his ability to be unselfish and really just be a guy who's a screener and a facilitator. Who does that for you now? Because it's going to end up being a lot of one-on-one, Giannis going downhill, a lot of Steph going one-on-one. It's going to be a lot of that. There won't be that person setting up Steph on pin downs and back screens. So you would be losing a major part of what has made their team very successful. Something to pay attention to, man. Shout out to Ron. He says Celtics getting Vooch is great. It is. It adds versatility to their team. They are preparing possibly for Tatum to come back. That's going to be an interesting aspect if they can get Tatum back. Now, Vooch isn't a great defensive center, but I think with Brown's versatility, with Derek White's versatility, you can get away with it. You can get away with it. Obviously, Tatum, you don't know what version of him you're getting, and I've talked about this before as well. I don't know if you're getting all NBA Jason Tatum right away. I think you're probably getting a guy who's going to be working himself back in a little bit. Now, depending on how early you get him back, it could dictate how fully functional he is come playoff time. You might get a guy who's able to get 20 games under his belt and then goes into the playoffs feeling really confident in his game and trusting his leg. But getting Vooch, I think, does add versatility. A guy who can stretch the floor, can shoot. Not as great as Porzingis was for them, but in a similar fashion, right? A guy who you can throw the ball down to in the post and can get you a bucket. A guy who now creates great balance on the floor because we know how much the Celtics love to shoot threes. You get that big who you know you can toss the ball into and he can make some things happen. So I like the move. I really do. And it'll be interesting to see what they do with their lineups if they get Tatum back and how this all plays out. But I do. When I first heard the move, I liked it. I thought Anthony Simons was good with Boston too. Maybe we've seen this kind of growth of Peyton Pritchard that maybe they just feel like, hey, we're okay at that position between Pritchard, between White. Like I said, Brown's ability to create for himself, obviously possibly getting Tatum back. They felt Anthony Simons was expendable, but I liked him. I said from the time they traded for him, I thought he would be a great six-man for them. That's the role he played this year. He was playing really well. But they moved on and they found an opportunity, and it saves them money. That's really one of the main reasons Boston did this. It's not that they didn't like Anthony Simons. It really did save them money. Again, guys, we're live every Wednesday night, 7:30 p.m. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the podcast. Normally, we're on YouTube, Facebook, and on Instagram. Tonight, Instagram's been acting up. So we're not on Instagram tonight, but the episode will be archived. Shout out to everybody who showed support. I was out at the Senior Bowl last week. Shout out to everybody who supported, who commented, who showed some love on the post and the stuff that I had out there. We're going to be dropping the interviews, putting them out. I got a couple that we want to get out there, but shout out to all the players out there. Shout out to the guys who took the time. I know it was a hectic couple of days for them, a very busy schedule. And so, there were guys definitely who took the time to, even if it was for a few minutes, chop it up. But then I had a great opportunity to speak to some guys off air as well. So I want to shout out Mike Washington, shout out Josh Cameron, shout out Kyle Lewis from Pitt. We didn't get an interview with him, but we had a great conversation with him on Friday, the day before the actual Senior Bowl, as he was heading back to be with his family. So shout out to those guys, man. It was a great experience. We're looking to be out at more showcases, events, games like that. Oh, nasty cut. Karl-Anthony Towns cut like a boxer right on the eyebrow after a bad headbutt. Yeah, that was nasty. Nasty collision there. Nasty, nasty. Wow. Yeah, I got the Nuggets, Knicks in the background. It's a good game late in the first quarter. But a nasty, nasty collision there. Karl-Anthony Towns is split right on the right eyebrow, leaking crazy on the court right now. But yeah, man, shout out to the Senior Bowl. Great experience. Shout out to everybody out there. We got Super Bowl talk. We got more NBA talk. I'm going to give you guys some of my favorite trades so far. Some of them that I don't understand. I don't understand what the Bulls are doing. I don't understand what the Kings are doing. And there's rumors now that the Kings are interested in Ja Morant. That's a typical Kings move. It just seems like they don't have much going on, and they're going to try to go get Ja Morant. I don't get that one. I don't get Jaren Jackson to Utah. I don't understand what they're doing there. Will, once you're ready, bro, just give me a thumbs up. But I don't understand what the Jazz are doing in that situation. Initially, we had heard rumors they were positioning themselves for the draft. Jaren Jackson, his extension kicks in next year. I don't understand why you would want to pay him close to $50 million a year. And it seems like they just have like this overabundance of like front court guys. I know Walker Kessler's been out this year, but Lauri Markkanen and Jaren Jackson, neither one of them is a great rebounder. Neither one of them is a great defender. So to pair them together, I don't see what you're really getting. You're getting these athletic stretch four, stretch fives playing next to each other, but very little defense, very little rebounding. So I don't understand it for them. But Danny Ainge is normally a guy who will cook something up. So we got to see if what the next move is and what they plan on doing beyond that move. But like I said, Jaren Jackson didn't make sense. For Memphis, I think it's beautiful because if you're Memphis, this is the quickest way to rebuild and retool. Considering they traded Desmond Bane in the offseason and got 4 first-round picks in that deal, now they just got another 3. They've been able to flip 2 of their young perennial all-star guys for 7 first-round picks to see what they do with Ja. But yeah, Memphis is in full rebuild. We figured they would be. You know. Will, once you're ready, let me know, bro. As always, got my brother Will Gordon, Mr. Unpopular Opinion in the building. Will, what's good, bro?
What it do, baby? How y'all feeling? Happy Wednesday to all the supporters. What's good with you, baby?
We got a couple people in the comment section, and I expect the comment section might be a little light, though. We were having trouble connecting on Instagram, so right now we're just on Facebook and YouTube only. So
okay.
We won't be getting any of the questions coming in on that side. But I saved this one for you. Obviously, it is Wizards related. It's the biggest news of the day. Anthony Davis to the Wiz. Ron Charles says, Will Gordon, your Wizards have gotten better. Of course, can Ice Trade and AD stay healthy is the question, and the odds not in your favor, but we hopeful. Give me your thoughts. We text about it. I didn't want to go too much into the text conversation because I wanted to save some of it for the actual live. So give me your thoughts on the Wiz getting Anthony Davis. How do you feel about it? What do you like? What do you don't like?
Now, well, what I do like, I'll before I get into the negatives, I'll get into the positives. What I do like is that here we are, not even at the very last hour of the deadline, and we've turned essentially. We went into the season with C.J. McCollum and Chris Middleton on the season ticket package marketing, and now we've turned those two essentially into 2 guys you talk about can go in the Hall of Fame. Now, with the Wizards being who they are, we don't get guys of that ilk to come to DC. We usually if we're gonna have somebody there, we want to have to overspend to get them. And I think when we by picking up AD, we didn't really give up much at all in my estimation, because when I look at the picks we gave up, they were all picks acquired from other deals we were trying to get away from, i.e. Bradley Beal and Kyle Kuzma. So it's not like every single pick they gave up were picks from other teams that we acquired. Being able to get him, not give up any of the young core, and not give up our own draft pick, I think with everything involved, and if it doesn't work out in a year or so, you can get out from under his money. I think it's a slam dunk deal for the Wizards. What I don't like is how many games are you going to see Anthony Davis on the floor? Because I remember seeing a graphic maybe 2 weeks ago showing that he's the most injured player in the history of sports with the amount of, I think he's had 72 injuries or something like that in his career. That's insanity. So, I mean, how much is he going to be able to give us? Are we going to see him for 60 games, 30 games? We know we're not going to see him for 80. So, go ahead and count that out. So if he's going to be hurt the whole time, then what was it all for? But you as the Wizards, you got to swing at this deal when they call and offer you that sweet deal, because that's for us. Like I said, you didn't give up your core, you didn't give up your draft picks, your own draft picks. You got to take that deal.
Yeah, there are a couple things I like about this deal, and I think ultimately the Wizards did the right thing in making this deal. One, the Wizards historically don't sign big name free agents, so having the cap space means nothing, right? They use their cap space, and I said this to you in a text. They used it the right way. This is how you say, all right, if free agents are going to outright sign here, no problem. Then we're going to go trade for guys, and we'll absorb those contracts that you guys don't want. The Hawks clearly wanted to get out from under Trae Young's contract. He has a player option for next year. That's where this could get interesting and tricky because it's a $49 million player option. Not that the money would matter to the Wiz, but it would matter if he opts out, because then if he opts out, it's almost like he's holding you hostage. You have to resign him now because you made these plans for next season to have him and Anthony Davis. That's one of the areas that can get tricky. But as I mentioned, you use your cap space smartly and say, all right, if we can't sign outright free agents, then let's go trade for the guys that y'all don't want. Let's go trade for those all-stars that other teams don't want. And that's exactly what they did. Anthony Davis, we heard for months that Dallas wanted to get out of that business, that they completely regretted that trade. Funny, because we said it was a terrible trade when they made it a year ago, and here they are a year later trading Anthony Davis.
Yeah, look at the return on that deal. Look at the return on Luka Doncic now.
The return is just crazy because, as you mentioned, the Wiz, and that was the other thing I was looking at. My first initial thought was, I know the Wiz ain't giving up Alex Sarr, but did they have to give up Trey Johnson? Did they have to give up George? Did they have to give up Bud Carrington? No, they didn't. So they kept their 4 core young guys that they really want to see develop. Like you said, they didn't give up any of their own picks. Now, this year's pick was going to get tricky. The Knicks own the right to this year's pick if it's outside the top 8. If it's a top 8 pick, the Wizards get to keep their pick. So I don't expect Anthony Davis to play at all this year. The smart thing to do if you're the Wiz is say, stay home, rehab, get as healthy as possible for next year. We'll let the young guys get all the reps. We don't care how bad we're going to be. Right now, I think they're tied somewhere. If the lottery were to take place today, they have like the 4th or 5th best odds. So they're in position to keep their pick, which is the most important thing for them. The same way they're telling Trae Young, stay home, get healthy, rest up. And next year, after our young guys have gotten reps for 2 straight years, and then we add these all-stars into the mix, we'll try to see if we can take a swing at being competitive in the East. The only place this gets tricky for them, like I said, is that Trae Young player option. If Trae Young decides to be a hard ass about it, pause and say, you know what? I don't want the 1 year for $49 million left. I want to force you guys to give me the extension. Then it gets tricky because then if you're the Wizards, you have to make the decision. Do we want to be in the Trae Young business long term? Do we want to give him 3 years on top of this one that he has left and turn this into a 4-year situation? Do we want to go anything beyond that? I also think your favorite agent, Will, is going to give the Wizards a hard time. Right now, even though there's 2 years left on Anthony Davis's deal, really it's only 1 year because that second year is a player option. And Rich Paul, understanding that Anthony Davis, as you said, one of the most injured players in NBA history, he is not going to be highly desirable in the free agent market. He's going to be a guy that people are going to worry about the injury concerns. Will Rich Paul be a hard ass now and say, we want to work on that extension or move my client now? He has a history of doing that. We know that's how they got him up out of New Orleans to get in LA. So will he do that now? Will he try to force the Wizards' hand? And I hope the Wizards don't fold. I hope the Wizards say, hey, look, you got to show and prove. At the very least, you got to give us 1 year before we can even talk about an extension. Those are the only 2 areas I think that it could hurt you if you're the Wiz. Other than that, I think this was a great move by the Wiz. It's the smart thing to do. As I've already said, you weren't going to use the cap space on free agents. You weren't going to get marquee guys. Right? Mm-hmm. You can only use but so much draft capital anyway. Like we've talked about this as well. If you look at the history of the Wizards, and I'm not even going to go last 15 years, we can really do the last 8 years. What did you draft? You drafted Danny Avdija. You drafted Kispert, right? Trey Johnson, Alex Sarr. What's the dude that played at Indiana that was an absolute bust for you guys?
I don't remember him.
He played like 2 years. He played like 2 years with you guys. It was recent too. It was after the Danny Avdija pick. The point being, the Wizards don't have a great track record of drafting and developing guys anyway. So the guys they have now that they really like, focus on those guys, bring in the veterans that will make you competitive, and you go from there. I think it's a win-win for the Wizards. The only downside, like I said, is that you have two stars who, if they decide to be malcontents, if they decide to say, yo, we don't really want to be here, so we're going to force your hand to pay us, then that's where it can get tricky. Outside of that, I love the move for you guys, though.
It's going to be like the first game of the year, as long as they're both healthy for the first game. The first game is going to be fun. You know, I'll enjoy the first game. That's all I'm guaranteed. That's all I'm guaranteed to see. The lineup that I'm anticipating to see all in one piece. It's the first game. Anything beyond that is, you know, who knows.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're gonna get that really exciting first month with them. After that, it gets tricky. And if you're a Wizards fan, you just got to live with the idea that you may, like you said, you may only get Anthony Davis for 50 games a year at most. That might be his ceiling, right? You're not going to get him at an all NBA clip. You're not going to get him as a guy who's dominant for start to finish of a season. That's just not who he is. Now, that's another reason why I think Rich Paul might try to be tough on this. We want a new contract because Rich Paul knows in order for him to get paid, it's going to happen now from the Wiz. It won't be through free agency. It won't be through because he's hit all these accolades because he won't qualify for any of those accomplishments and accolades. He won't play enough games to be all first NBA, second or third team. He won't be a guy who can lead the league in any stats because he's just not going to play enough games. So Rich Paul I think is going to try to hold out and make something happen. It'll be interesting to pay attention to what Rich Paul says over the next couple of weeks because there's going to be a lot made of the fact that people know already Anthony Davis is really on a 1-year deal with the opt-out on that second year. What were some of the other moves that stuck out to you so far?
None of them really. I mean, when I saw the Memphis and Utah trade, I didn't really understand that one. But I didn't really see any movement. I mean, you were seeing names. It was just guys, you know, like Kobe White got traded. Ooh, you know,
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? It was like I was just from what we did and what Milwaukee hasn't done. I think is the bigger picture in free agency and the trade deadline. I mean, right now.
Yeah, I was saying right before you came on the live, I think that the Giannis situation is getting tricky, and I think it's really based in desperation of other teams. So we heard last week 4 teams were really interested: New York, Miami, Minnesota, and Golden State. Excuse me. I don't think the Knicks or Miami are desperate to make the move. I think Golden State is desperate. That's why we're hearing their leading candidate to make it happen. They're trying to make it happen because they're trying to extend the Steph window for another 3 years. But other than that, I don't think teams are desperate enough. And the combination of what you got to give up for Giannis, along with the fact that he's already been out twice this year with that calf strain. Now, how serious it is, who knows? Maybe the second one really is just him bluffing until he gets traded. But either way, a calf strain is something that scares a lot of teams because we have this rise of Achilles injuries in players. We've seen Kevin Durant deal with this in a playoff situation where calf strain turned into the Achilles. So if you're a team who is making a move for Giannis, you want to make sure that he's healthy enough for a playoff run. The last thing you want to do is make the trade for Giannis and in the second round he goes down with an Achilles injury. Because then you feel like an absolute asshole that you made the move and you gave up the pieces for him. And I don't think Giannis gets traded by tomorrow. You and I were texting about this yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he gets traded. What do you think? Do you think it will happen?
Now I don't, because I kind of think it would have happened by now. Like when you saw Anthony Davis get moved, it's like I think teams are starting to feel like, all right, it's time to stop waiting on that chip to fall. You know, because other things could have happened, and we were looking at other players too. But I think with Giannis, it's too many stories and not enough facts with the whole deal. Like it's no more Woj, you know what I'm saying? Woj ain't out here dropping facts on us no more with the inside scoop. Shams out here struggling, it seemed like, to get the scoop on these deals. But I don't see him moving now, because the team I thought was a better fit, Houston, I don't even hear any noise about that. You hear you hear about the teams you mentioned, but you don't see, you don't see, you're not seeing the cryptic tweets from people on other teams involved in the rumors, and you're not seeing guys delete and stop following teams on social media and all that. There's no hints. There's none of that popping up. It's just chatter right now. So I think if we would have saw something happen, it would have happened.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen. I think Houston is out. One of the things I highlighted on Monday as well is that Houston has such a young roster. I don't think they want to go all in on this Giannis KD matchup or a pairing. I just think they want to kind of wait it out a little bit, and they know in order to get Giannis, they would have to give up too many young players, and so I don't think they really want to go down that road. And like I said, I don't think Miami's desperate enough because I think Miami views it and understands that even getting Giannis probably doesn't change their fortune. Like if you pair Giannis and Tyler Hero, is that a championship caliber team? No. That Giannis going to Miami just sounds good, but does it change anything? Probably not. The Knicks don't want to give up too many assets. The Knicks don't have the draft capital, so they would have to gut their roster to make it happen. I don't think they want to do that either. Minnesota, I don't think they're desperate enough. I think they would love to pair Ant-Man with Giannis, but are they desperate enough? No, probably not. They know they got a large window available as well because Ant-Man is one of the best players in the league. They've already been to back-to-back Western Conference Finals without a Giannis, so there's no need to rush. I really think Golden State is the one team that's desperate, and that's more so because they don't want to waste another Steph Curry year. But that's really what it comes down to. I don't know if you heard Draymond's post-game conference yesterday. He sounded like a guy that was already informed he's on his way out.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. He talked about it was a great ride and 14 years, a kid from Saginaw to be a part of this type of organization. He sounded like it was his almost farewell speech. So I think maybe they've let him know already that, hey, we're probably at the 1 yard line with this deal. We're working out the final details to make this happen.
When they talk about seeing Draymond on a different team, I think that would be the biggest fall in NBA history. If you put him on any other team, I don't see him. I just don't see him working on another squad. Not his style of play and not his personality.
Personality for sure. Steve Kerr has been beyond patient when it came to Draymond Green. I don't see another head coach dealing with the shenanigans of Draymond Green.
No.
In terms of like play style, I think it's too late for that. You're talking about a guy who's a 14-year vet. He was already limited as an offensive player 8 years ago. He was limited as an offensive player. So now you're talking about a guy who's purely out there relying on IQ and hustle. So I don't think he's a contributor anywhere, and nobody's taking him on in that aspect. I think any team that's taking him on is purely because it works salary wise. That's all it is. So, and I think the fact that they are trading him speaks volumes to how fed up they might be with him, because remember, they could easily trade Jimmy Butler to make the salary work.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have to trade Draymond to make it work. They could trade Jimmy. And the fact that they're willing to not trade Jimmy, even though Jimmy's not going to play the rest of this year, speaks to them saying, man, we kind of done with him. We done with the Draymond Green shit. What did you think of, I guess, the other big move? AD is obviously probably, I think, the biggest move. Maybe the most impactful, or the move that has the chance to have the most impact, is Harden going to Cleveland. It's pretty much a straight up move. Harden to Cleveland for Garland and a second round pick. What do you think about this move, and can it impact the East?
If this isn't a deal for something else to happen, if this isn't something to set up for a Giannis trade, then I don't think it'll work. I don't see where James Harden and Donovan Mitchell can play in the same backcourt. I don't see James Harden, because that's Mitchell's team, and I don't see James Harden giving up that basketball long enough with as many dribbles as he likes to take. I just don't see them being a good fit basketball wise. So I don't know why you make that move if you're Cleveland, unless you're trying to use Harden to do something else. Pause.
For the people that may not know, you and I talked about this off air. There's rumblings that Cleveland is in on the Giannis market as well. Mobley for Giannis. I've heard it from Bill Simmons. You're in that area, so I know people in that area are probably talking about it. To me, it speaks to desperation. And so the Harden trade itself is a desperation move. I don't understand trading your younger point guard, who's 10 years younger than the guy you're getting, for James Harden, who throughout his career has been a guy who hasn't shown up in the playoffs and is one of the most unreliable teammates you can have.
Mm-hmm.
Let's keep it a buck. Now, if James Harden wants out of a team, it's more than likely because he wants a new contract. So the fact that Cleveland's trading for him leads me to believe that there's some sort of backdoor situation where they're telling him, yeah, after the season, we'll work on an extension for you. Because just last year, he talked about how much he loved it being with the Clippers. It's close to home. I want to end my career playing out here. When he signed his one-year deal this offseason, that was all the talk. I just want to finish out here. I want everything to go smooth and finish out my legacy. I hate that word too, because guys throw legacy out for everything now at this point. But now for some reason he wants out of LA. So to me, it seems like the Clippers were already letting him know we're probably not giving you another contract. So therefore he kind of forced his way out. Cleveland was desperate enough to take him. Cleveland is super desperate at this point because they're scared Donovan Mitchell's going to opt out after next season. And maybe that's why they make the deal for Giannis. I don't think it works. You get Giannis, Harden, and Mitchell on a team together. On paper, it sounds great. If you're playing 2K, it sounds great. These things never work out that quickly. There's no way you're just going to put 3 stars, 3 ball-dominant stars, guys who are used to just creating offense on their own and not having to defer to anybody, and then telling them, oh, yeah, by the way, just play together and make it work. Figure it out. It's not going to work. There's a long history of this not working, especially the first year that teams do it. So if Cleveland does it, I would immediately rule them out to win a championship. That's just the way I would look at it, Will. I wouldn't take them serious at that point. Adding Harden to me does nothing for them. This is a desperation move. Harden does nothing off ball.
Would he be part of a deal to acquire Giannis?
No, because if anything, why not? You would have kept Garland for that then.
If Milwaukee and the money made more sense to get James to make the Giannis deal work,
then I think they would have had to make the move simultaneously. I don't know if them waiting, because now Harden does have like a trade kicker, like a 15% trade kicker, which they were already, I think, first apron team. So this puts them right at about the second apron because you got to factor in the trade kicker. So
okay.
I think they would have had to, this would have had to be simultaneous. Now, they would have had to turn it into a 3-team deal. But if you're Milwaukee, again, that's another scenario where why do I want 37-year-old James Harden? Because Milwaukee's not in the business of trying to be competitive this year. Milwaukee needs to lose games. So them trading Giannis, that's one of the reasons why the talk of them trading Giannis to New York hasn't made sense, because the Knicks don't have draft capital to give them. Knicks would just be giving them established players already. Milwaukee prefers to get younger guys and draft picks. So that, to me, doesn't make any sense. And if you're Cleveland, like I said, I think they're trying to position themselves to create a big 3 and try to take a swing at it this year. As currently constructed, I'm still not sold that they can win. Harden doesn't play off ball.
Nope.
So which one of those guys is deferring?
That's the thing. It's got to be James in that system. It's got to be James.
Yeah, I don't like it. As always, guys, make sure you are subscribed to the Sanchez Show. We're live every Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Then we're back on Monday. Real Fans Real Talk, 7 p.m. Comment section a little light. We ain't got many basketball questions or comments. Will, is there anything else on basketball you want to go over before we transition to some NFL talk?
Nah, we good. It's Super Bowl week. Let's do it.
Let's get to Super Bowl week. All right. We here. We know what it is. We're a few days away. I don't have any stock in any injuries. Drake was at practice today. He spoke with the media. All indications are that he's a full go. I think Vegas's line has not shifted at all, so that's another indication that Vegas feels like it is what it is. What we know about the teams, what we know about the teams. You made the comment on Monday. You expect this to be a blowout. Has anything changed in your opinion?
Nope, still blowout. I was actually just looking myself to see if anything changed on the line, but I love the over, and I love Seahawks covering that 4.5 points that I'm seeing.
So
you saying 4.5?
I'm seeing 4.5 as well. I definitely love the over. I think 45.5 is too low. Last three Super Bowls cleared that. I saw a stat, something like 15 out of the last 21 Super Bowls have cleared that number. What we normally see in Super Bowls is a slow first half with then an offensive explosion in the second half. Also, keep in mind, being that it is the Super Bowl, this is the time of year you're going to see trick plays. This is when you're going to see the full assortment of an offensive playbook because there's nothing left. This is it. So I would expect an offensive explosion in the second half of this game. I think it gets really good in the second half. First half, I can see both teams being conservative. I can see both teams not wanting to force the situation. Neither one of these quarterbacks are elite level quarterbacks. This is not your Mahomes. This is not your Brady. This is not none of those guys. This is not your Matthew Stafford. So I can see both coaches playing it a little conservative early, just so that you don't make a critical mistake. But come second half, I think both teams air it out. So I agree with you. We can start marking that off if we want to put a ticket together. Over 45.5, we both love that number.
Yeah, I was actually, while we were talking basketball, I was jotting down some things for a Super Bowl ticket. I figured we got to put in a Super Bowl ticket,
We're putting a Super Bowl ticket in.
For the viewers.
Another, since we talk about it, let's get to it. Now, I love this guy. I got to look up what his odds are for a touchdown. But because Seattle does not have their backup quarterback, and they started doing it last week with the tush push, AJ Barner anytime touchdown, I think I saw it somewhere like a plus 220.
Let me see. It's just plus 240 now.
Yeah. I love that.
Let me write that down.
You would assume the Patriots' natural strategy is going to be anybody but Smith-Njigba. Now, Smith-Njigba is going to get his touches, don't get me wrong. But I would expect that they consistently roll coverage that way, especially in the red zone, and try to force Sam Darnold to go somewhere else. AJ Barner, I think, is the perfect candidate. The weakness of this Patriot defense, they're really good on the D-line. They're good in their secondary, but their linebackers are very suspect. So I think this is a matchup for AJ Barner. I think anytime touchdown is a good one there too.
Yeah, I like that. I can see as far as anytime touchdown goes, I actually love at plus 260. I love Cooper Kupp back in the Super Bowl again, former Super Bowl MVP, with an opportunity to be one of the few receivers to actually make an impact on 2 Super Bowls. I love Cooper Kupp at plus 260. Plus, I think Seattle's going to put a whole lot of points on the board, and I think I can see Donald throwing 3 touchdowns. So I think one of them's going to be the Cooper Kupp.
Honestly, I think that is the path to success for Seattle. If they're going to win, it's going to have to be Sam Darnold. I talked about it in other games. The Patriots are very, very tough to run on. You look at their playoff numbers, you look at their regular season numbers, they do not give up a lot of rushing yards. And that's even indicative. If you look at Kenneth Walker's over-under in this game, I believe they have it set like at 70 yards. They don't expect them to have a big day because, like I said, this is a very tough defense to run on. So there will be opportunity for Sam Darnold, whether it's taking shots down the field or whether it's in the red zone. But I think it will have to be – I think Sam Darnold 2 touchdowns is a pretty safe bet. Again, if you expect the Seahawks to put up points, that's the way you would go. I don't think he puts up a lot of yards, but I think he gets the touchdown passes.
They got him at 3. He's plus 350.
Yeah,
that's juicy.
They because again they know it's gonna have to be him throwing, so they expect that's gonna be the number. Now the 4.5 you talked about it. I really like the 4.5 the other way.
Oh, D. Okay.
Patriots getting the 4.5 points. From what we've seen over the last 25 years, last 24 years, we'll just go with that. Last 24 years, underdogs are 18-6 against the spread. So historically, they keep the game close. The 6 instances where we got the underdog who didn't cover the spread, they were still close games. It's just that the actual line was low. So you have Packers -3 when they beat the Steelers. That was Aaron Rodgers won Super Bowl. You had the Patriots -3 when they beat the Falcons. That was the comeback game in overtime. You had the Patriots -2.5 when they beat the Rams the second time. That was the game that was 13-3. The Chiefs -1.5 over San Francisco. And then the Rams at -4.5. I'm sorry, -3.5 against the Bengals. That was the Stafford Super Bowl, Cooper Kupp winning MVP. That was a 24-20 game. So all those games, even though the favorite covered, we're talking about 3.5, 3, 2.5, and 1.5. There aren't very many instances of somebody covering more than like that 3 or 3.5. So I think the 4.5 fits right. Like I also said, I expect this to be kind of a low scoring first half game. So I expect the Patriots to be in this game when it opens up in the second half. Both teams will be comfortable. Seattle winning would not shock me, but I would be shocked if they win by more than 6 points. So I like the 4.5. I think it's, like I said, that might be a separate bet, but I like it. Also this year, something else to keep in mind, against the spread, Seattle as a favorite this year was 12-4 against the spread, but against AFC teams, they were 3-2. So it seemed like a lot of the games that they struggled to cover the spread were against AFC teams. The Patriots this year, keep in mind also, were 9-0 on the road this year. This is still a road game for them because Seattle had the best record. Now they're, because of the AFC and NFC alternation, they say, Patriots are the home team, but by seeding, we know that the Seahawks would be the home team. That's why the Patriots are wearing their all whites. So I don't know. I just like the 4.5. Also, another number to keep in mind, underdogs have won the Super Bowl outright 35% of the time. So a couple of things there to pay attention to, but I expect them to. Another one that I like in this game is you can pick which running back you want, but something's telling me I'm leaning towards TreVeyon Henderson just because he's a little bit more explosive. Now, he hasn't been good in the playoffs, but because of the style of defense that Seattle plays with a lot of too high safety, and like I said, because I expect the teams to come out and be conservative early, I think TreVeyon Henderson, his rushing yards, if you have it up now, I think they had him somewhere at around 30-something yards.
TreVeyon, what up?
Unless it's drastically changed.
He's at, he's over under?
Yeah.
Is 17.5.
Take the over.
Dang.
I think that's easiest money.
Drake Mays is 37.5.
Drake May's gonna come close to that.
TreVeyon Henderson, 17.5. Dang.
I think he gets that number.
That's low.
Seattle's defense is a too high safety look. They're gonna force you to keep everything in front of you, in front of their defenders. They expect their pass rush to get there. Now, it's not a great pass rush, but it is a good defensive line. But because they're going to sit in that too high look, especially early in the game, like I said, where you expect the teams to come out and try to gain rhythm, I would be surprised if Josh McDaniels came out and said on the first 6 plays, Drake may just go out there and throw the ball. He's going to come out and try to just make it super simple. Let's get into a 2nd and 6. Let's get into a 3rd and 3. And the best way to do that is to run a ball. So I think TreVeyon Henderson gets touches, a lot of touches in this game. I like his over at 17.5.
Okay. Yeah, I'm write that one down too. Over 17.5. Yeah, the more I'm thinking about it, I'm loving I'm loving that Cooper Cup plus 260 anytime touchdown because I think they might over focus on JSN.
Well, that was my reasoning for taking AJ Barnum,
Okay.
because I really expect there to be this, like I said, this focus on don't let him be the guy. And because their linebackers are so weak, that's a matchup I think they can exploit. Matter of fact, since we're talking about AJ Brown, what do they have his catches at?
Let's see.
2.5. Yeah.
2.5.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's gone for like last week. I mean, the last game, I think I had him over 2.5, and I think he hit it.
2.5. And hold on, I just want to bring up some of his, because he's gotten a lot of touches towards the end of the season. Let's see what they've done with him in terms of targets.
Yeah, I had him on a ticket a few weeks ago for the show for anytime touchdown, I think, because they've been on his way a lot.
In his last 5 games, he's had at least 3 targets in 4 of those 5 games. And then he had in the playoffs so far, he's had 2 catches. He didn't get any targets in that San Fran game, but that's also because they were up big early. Remember, they were blowing him out by halftime. Last week against the Rams, he had 3 targets. But again, you look back at his last 5 games, he's had 6 targets, 3 targets, 3 targets. There was no targets in that 90 game, and then another 3 targets last week. He might be a guy. I think this might be the week. 2 catches could be in play. He's had at least 2 catches in 4 of those 5 games as well. So he's getting some targets, he's getting some catches.
You see, he's over his line's 2.5. What do you got it at?
2.5. And he's had at least 2 catches. Yeah. He's had at least 2 catches in 4 of his 5 games. 4 of his last 5 games, at least 2 catches.
Yeah. Minus 154. Okay.
Yeah. I like that one.
What do you expect out of Stefon Diggs being on this stage for the first time in his career?
I expect him to make some plays. I don't know if the yards are going to be there because, again, this is a defense that kind of sits over the top and they're not going to really let you get down the field too often. They're going to force you to kind of work down the field. So he might get some catches. I don't know if his yards will be great, but I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up with a 5 or 6 catch day. The guy I am kind of paying attention to that they like to use because he's a physical receiver and because he has versatility because they can run with him on the field or pass is Mack Hollins. They got his number at 2.5 as well. And he's another guy that gets targets. Him and Keyshawn Boutte, you could kind of make money with either one of those guys because they both get targets from Drake May.
Yeah.
Except Keyshawn Boutte so far in the playoffs, Keyshawn Boutte has had 11 targets through the 2 games in the playoffs. Actually, no, I'm sorry. He's had 15 targets through 3 games in the playoffs. He had 4 catches against the Chargers. He had 3 catches against the Texans. He had 1 catch last week. But in all those games, his targets have actually gone up. 4 targets against the Chargers, 5 targets against the Texans, 6 targets against the Broncos. So Keyshawn Boutte.
So they trusted him more.
They're trusting him more. Keyshawn Boutte, targets is looking good. And then let me see what we have here. So Mack Hollins had missed some games, but before Mack Hollins went out, just to give you a heads up, before he got injured towards the end of the season, his last 4 games he played, 6 targets, 4 targets, 8 targets, 9 targets. In all those games, he had at least had 2 catches. 2 catches, 3 catches, 4 catches, 7 catches. Last week was his first game back after injury. He had 2 targets for 2 catches.
Yeah.
So I think those are 2 guys that outside of Diggs, Drake may trust and their offense trust. And like I say, even though Mac Hollins only had the 2 targets last week, he caught both those passes for 51 yards. So they're throwing down the field to him too. They're trusting him down the field. These aren't like little dink and dunk safe throws.
Yeah.
So you could pick and choose pretty much either him or Kayshon Boutte. I think Kayshon Boutte 2 catches, over 2.5 catches is plus 116. Mac Hollins over 2.5 catches is plus 124. You can get plus money with either one of those guys.
I saw a little game special. They probably won't let you combine it with anything else, which I hate that they do that. But you say Drake May can be close to that over 37.5 rushing, which I agree with. There's a game special for May to record 5 rushing yards in each quarter. That's plus 460.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that one a lot.
Yeah, me too. That's I'm gonna jump all over that one.
Because I even said on Monday I would expect him to come out early and even have designed running plays for him early in the game, just to try to loosen up the defense. Because like I said, the Seahawks are going to stay in a too high look until either the Patriots start consistently going down the field, or if the Patriots running game is starting to gash them. Then it's going to force Mike Macdonald to come out of that too high look and commit more guys to the box. But I like that one. I do like that one, bro.
Yeah, that's one to pay attention to. Also, one more to pay attention to is I think Darnold. I know he's not known to be a scrambler by any means, but his line is 5.5 rushing at minus 115. I think he goes over that easy just off of trying to make a couple first downs.
My only concern with that is, so he may scramble if necessary. He may only get 1 or 2 scrambles in a game, and then remember, if he kneels down at the end of the game, if we're expecting Seattle to win,
yeah,
it will take away from that.
I forgot about that. I'd be punching the air if that happened.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. You could find yourself in a situation where he's sitting at 8 yards late in the game, and then 2 kneel downs, and then
man, yeah, I'll be punching the air.
Yep. Let's think of like 2 more. Let's see what other 2 more we can go with. You can't parlay with anything, but I do think both quarterbacks throw at least 1 interception.
I wonder why they don't put INTs in the parlay.
Oh, you know what I do like? DeMarcus Lawrence to have a sack. That's plus 120.
Yeah, I got that written down.
I like that one.
Yeah, I had that one written down.
Yeah, the left tackle. First of all, the left side of the Patriots offensive line is 2 rookies, so they are an inexperienced line. But the left tackle, Will Campbell, has struggled all playoffs. This could be an opportunity for DeMarcus Lawrence to have a sack.
Yeah, I had that one, and then I got I got JSN over 93.5 receiving too.
So if you're gonna go that route, because I thought about that, right? If you're gonna go with his over, would you consider parlaying that with him winning MVP as well?
I think Darnold gets the MVP.
Okay. Because my thinking on it was like, let's say if you're going over, let's say Smith-Njigba gets 100 yards. So let's say at the end of the night, we're looking at an 8-catch, 100-yard performance, and he has a touchdown. That might be enough to win MVP, unless Sam Darnold just goes crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But
I could see him getting the yards, but not the touchdown with JSN. That's why I had Kupp getting the touchdown.
Okay.
So I could see him getting the yards, and then that's why I got Darnold winning MVP, because I think he's going to spread it around enough and have a good enough performance.
This might be one to put on a long shot ticket. If this guy had a catch last week, he had a touchdown. I'm not putting him for a touchdown, but for Jake Bobo to have over a half-yard receiving is plus 180.
Jake, oh yeah, that was his first catch. Wasn't that his first catch of the season?
It might have been.
Well, something like that.
He got 2 catches in the playoffs right now for 3 yards.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, those were his.
But that might have been his first catch. Yeah, okay.
His first 2 catches of the year. But again, on a long shot ticket, all he needs, I mean, a little 3-yard drag route, and he got the yards.
Yeah.
I mean, half.
I like those kind of. Yeah, I like that kind of stuff.
I'm gonna mark that one down.
Yeah, plus 180. Yeah, I like that. Bobo. I'm gonna have so many tickets in.
Oh yeah, that's a fact. All right, let's start getting ready to wrap up. We got some stuff. What do we want to go with on the parlay? We're gonna put together our last parlay of the year. What do we want to go with?
How many legs we going?
You want to do 6, 3 and 3?
Okay.
All right, so we both agree on the over.
Mm-hmm.
You like the Cup anytime touchdown?
Yep. We both liked DeMarcus Lawrence.
Lawrence sack. Yep. I like the Kayshon Boutte over 2.5 receptions.
Okay, Boutte over 2.5. Okay.
So we got 1, 2, 3. That's 4. Anytime touchdown, we said Cooper Kupp at 260.
I like the Travion Henderson over.
All right. Henderson over on his rushing yards, 17.5. Lawrence with a sack. So right now, those 5 things that we got, that's a plus 4,638. $10 get you to 463. We can add one more on there that'll probably take us over like $600. What's one more thing we want to add? What about, let's see.
I think Sam throws 3, man. What does that 350 add to that?
Sam Darnold, 3 touchdowns. It takes it to 894. If we, but listen, I'm okay with that. If we want to go 3 touchdowns, then should we add Sam Darnold to win the MVP then? Because he throw 3 touchdowns, he's winning MVP.
Yeah.
Right? Can we add that on here? Let me see something.
It probably won't let you add it. It's probably something you got to do by yourself.
Yeah, it won't. I don't think it'll let you add to that. Let me see. Yeah, I don't think that'll let you parlay that together.
I'm good with the Bobo over the Bobo 1 catch.
Do we want to add that? I feel like that's like a long shot. It doesn't seem like a long shot, but again, we're talking about he's their number 4 receiver, because it's JSN, it's Kupp, it's Rashid Shaheed. So you're asking a 4th receiver who might only get like 3 or 4 snaps to make sure he gets a catch in it. I'd rather put that on more of a long shot parlay ticket.
I got you.
I mean, we can go with those 6.
We're gonna go with Donald with the 3.
Sam, 3 touchdowns. It puts it at plus 89.43. $10 gets you 894.
Woo.
We go with that. All right, you're going with Will's got the Seahawks.
Yep. In a blowout. I got to see in my personal ticket. I put in an alt spread of 9.5.
I'm going with the Patriots to cover. I like them at the 4.5. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if they went outright. So I'm going with the Patriots. I'll just say, for the sake of picking outright, I'm gonna say I'm taking the Patriots. But when I gamble on it, I'm taking the points.
Gotcha.
All right, bro, let's wrap it up. We're going to be back next week. By next week, we'll have All-Star Talk. We ain't nobody really trying to. We're at that time of year where we're gonna have to come up with some topics right now to talk about.
Oh yeah, I got some in my pocket already.
But give me a final thought so we can wrap up tonight.
I just want a Super Bowl where the refs are not any part of the game, and I hope it's no shenanigans outside the Super Bowl with ice, and I'm going to enjoy Bad Bunny's halftime show.
The NFL has come out. I'm assuming that the NFL has got the word from the administration because the NFL said they're confident that ICE will not be interfering with the festivities at Super Bowl weekend. So we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah,
The other statement, I agree with you. I don't want the refs to become the focal point of the Super Bowl. To be fair, the AFC Championship game and the NFC Championship game, the refs were not a part of those games. They didn't impact those games. So we hope that carries over into the Super Bowl where we get a good competitive game to end the season. I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, man. And like you said, Bad Bunny, I'm super excited. As a fellow Puerto Rican, I'm happy that he's getting this opportunity. I'm happy that he's getting the support he's been getting because a lot of people, in spite of the hate, in spite of the people who want to be fucking haters, he's still gotten a lot of support. Will, I don't know if you saw Turning Point USA release their halftime show.
Yeah, I saw that. Anybody that watches that, you a stone cold racist piece of shit.
Yeah, well, I expect them to get the same people that went to the Melania movie. They'll probably be watching the Turning Point halftime show. That's that demographic. That's that crowd. Have fun with Meth, Kid Rock, and all that bullshit.
Right.
Yeah. For my brother Will Gordon, I am Eric Sanchez. We are the Opinionated Ones as part of the Sanchez Show. We'll be back next Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. In the meantime, in between time, man, enjoy the Super Bowl. We'll get with you guys. We out of here.